Hello everyone, I am Jonathan Little, and today I'm going to answer a question I get on a daily basis. I'm tired of typing out the same thing in an email, so I'm just going to start typing a link to this video. So, let's discuss online poker for Americans. Here's a question from one of my Inner Circle members. Which site should I play on? I'm an American and can't figure out which sites are legal. I mainly play small stakes live poker and want to get more practice. Help! By the way, my Inner Circle is a group that meets every 2 weeks where I present on a specific topic of their choice. And then also, I have office hour calls where they can call in for about 15 or 20 minutes and ask me any questions they would like. You can get more information for that at pokercoaching.com/inner circle. So, before we get into this too much, I do want to make it clear that as far as I know, in every state besides Washington State, online poker is completely illegal to play. Not illegal, it is legal to play. What is illegal is sending money into a site or out of a site using a bank. Also, the sites are not legally allowed to be operated from within America. That said, this is a very shady territory, and for that reason, we need a guide to help you all make good decisions. So, full disclosure, I do not play on any of these sites mentioned, although I have played on many of them in the past, mainly for research purposes to help out my students. Only keep money in online sites that you are fine losing, okay? Do not be surprised if an unregulated site closes up and steals your money. Don't be surprised, don't come crying to me, because I'm telling you right now, they may. So this advice today presumes that you are not a full-time pro living in America who must play significant volume online each week. If that's the case, you're going to have to bite the bullet and realize you're taking significant risks for significant money. And, I mean, I'm a pro living in America, and I don't play online at all from within America because, well, we're going to get into some of those reasons. So first, let's take a look at the regulated sites. These are currently only available in Nevada, New Jersey, and Delaware, and as poker becomes definitively legal in more states, this list will grow. These sites are completely safe. You should feel perfectly fine keeping a decent amount of money on these, and really, you have no issues. In general, you should not keep a ton of money in online sites just because sometimes payment processors are slow or the sites have issues, but for the most part, your money is going to be completely safe on these sites. So I have nothing negative to say about them. These are sites like WorldSeriesOfPoker.com, Party Poker within America, 888 within America, PokerStars within America. These are all completely safe. If you do want to go play on these sites and you are not in one of the places where they are illegal, Nevada, New Jersey, or Delaware, you can actually travel to these places and just straight up play. You can be from Europe and play. You can be from Canada. You can be from Florida. If you go to these places and are playing within the borders of these states, you will be completely fine. There's not much of a setup required. Every once in a while, they have issues where they have to locate your computer. So if you're playing in a rather rural place, you may have problems. But for the most part, these sites are nice, easy, and clean to play on. I have nothing negative to say about them. Some of them do not offer heads-up displays, which is fine. There may be different laws state by state. I'm not exactly up to date on that because, again, I don't actually play on any of these sites. But if you are on a site where, let's say in New Jersey, you can use a heads-up display, but in Nevada you can't, and the sites share the same player pool, that's a big problem because that means the players in New Jersey are going to have a big edge if they have heads-up displays and you do not in Nevada. So keep that in mind. But in general, these sites are all safe and completely fine. Next, we're going to talk about the unregulated sites. This is what most people in America are forced to play on if they want to play, right? Because they don't live in Nevada, New Jersey, or Delaware. Almost every single unregulated and unlicensed site has gone broke. Almost every single one, besides one we're going to discuss in a minute, resulting in them either completely stealing the players' monies or taking a long time to repay it. Here are just a few that I've listed. PokerSpot was one of the first poker sites. They closed up, kept all the money. And again, I don't know where all of this money went. Maybe they just straight up didn't have it. It is important to understand that a lot of poker sites, perhaps all poker sites, whenever you make a deposit on the site, they don't view that as necessarily a deposit. They view that as a purchase. You are purchasing their chips. And it is essentially their job to keep as much of that money as they can. right? So how did they do that? Well, first things first, they can take a rake, right? Every poker site takes a rake in one form or another, and that is viewed as completely fine and standard. They can also make their games very turbo-y, right? Turbo tournaments lead to low skill advantages, and if you make a game turbo-y enough, like spinning goes, let's say, it's going to be very difficult for anyone to actually have an edge, or if they do have an edge, it's going to be so small to the point that it is less than the rake, so everyone loses. They can also make the games all bounty tournaments. In bounty tournaments, a lot of the field gets paid out, resulting in everyone, again, having a low return on investment. If everyone has a low return on investment, it may not beat the rake. They can also do things like make the games anonymous. Anonymous games are very good for the recreational players because any information a pro has, they're going to use better than a recreational player. And therefore, anonymous sites take away a lot of a pro's edge. Also, a lot of those sites don't allow heads-up displays, which again, gives the pro more information. More information leads to better decision-making, right? So sites that don't offer heads-up displays and also are anonymous have a lower skill advantage for the pros. As their advantage goes down, again, they cash out less money. So all of these ways are perfectly accepted and acceptable ways for a site to decrease money, or to decrease the money that pros win. And when that fails, sometimes they just straight up take it. Quite often what sites do is, let's say they get a deposit for, let's say $100. They may take 80 of those dollars and spend it on marketing immediately, leaving $20 in there for the people who will cash out because they know they're going to rake away a lot of the money. But that's a big problem because what if more people want to get cashed out? What if they get greedy and they steal more money than they, or use more of that money to for marketing than they actually should have? What if they spend all of it on marketing because they assume no one's going to cash out? Maybe they assume people in the future are going to deposit. They can use that money to pay the people who are waiting for a cash out. Then it becomes a Ponzi scheme, right? So anyway, these are a few sites that have all closed up. PokerSpot closed up. That was one of the first ones to close up. Lock Poker looked really promising within America. They had a lot of pros. They actually asked me if I wanted to be a pro. They were offering me a really good deal, but I already knew from past experience that some of these sites have problems and close up. And I know if you're operating in an unregulated and unlicensed way within America, that's a warning sign enough to me that you may close up. I'm not going to get involved with you, and I'm certainly not going to recommend to my fan base that they play on your site because I know you may close up shop at any moment. And that's what happened to Lock Poker. They closed up. People are still waiting for a cash out. Yeah, you're not going to get it. And that's a problem. Next, Cake Poker. Same story. They spent a lot of money on marketing, and they eventually closed up shop. I know that they were being really slow to cash out, like 6 months or a year, and I think they actually sold their site to some other site. Not exactly sure what happened, but in my opinion, you should not have to wait 6 months for a cash out. That's ridiculous. Next, Ultimate Bet and Absolute. This is the one example where players were legitimately being cheated by an insider in the company. I do not think that the vast majority of online sites are rigged or people are cheating or anything like that. The real issue is will you get your cash out? That's the main problem. That said, that was happening on Ultimate Bet and Absolute, and well, those players got hosed. And that is very, very, very bad and very detrimental. But if you do think that online poker is rigged, if that's your excuse for why you can't win, I promise you, you are just not a very good poker player. I hate to break it to you. I hate to be the only person who's going to tell you the truth here. But if you are not winning, it's not because people are cheating you or because the random number generator is shady or anything like that. It's because you are not a good player. There are actual legitimate winners on essentially every poker site where the rake is not gigantic or the things we discussed earlier. And I've won consistently throughout my career. They have no reason to rig the site in my favor or anything like that. And there are legitimate winners across the board on every poker site. So do not think that. Don't look for someone to blame for your problems. You need to instead figure out if you're actually good at poker or not. Next, Full Tilt. This was one of the more big sites that closed down. Eventually, the players did get all of their money back, but it took 2 or 3 years, and that's because PokerStars decided to bail them out. And well, that's a problem, right? You don't want to play on sites where you just may have your money locked up for 2 or 3 years. And pretty much everyone thought the money on Full Tilt was safe. And I'm not exactly sure why that was. Maybe, again, it's because they just had a ton of pros representing them. Realize that quite often pros representing a site is not an indicator or of a site's legitimacy. Going back to Lock Poker, right? They had tons of pros representing them. And some of them represented them all the way to the bitter end because they were getting paid money and they were fine essentially throwing their followers and fans under the bus. If you are a fan of someone who is happy to throw you under the bus in exchange for a few dollars, you need to make sure you are taking a look at the people that you are actually following. And I mean, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if someone is telling you to make investments in things, if someone is telling you to put your money on a site that is not definitively licensed and regulated, these people are very likely not looking out for your best interest. So, be discerning, right? All right, next. History does repeat itself. There's a long line of sites that were thought to be very legitimate that all closed down. So, keeping that in mind as we move forward, here are the big, unregulated, unlicensed sites. And these may or may not be available in your state. Many of these sites have actually pulled out of the states where poker has been legalized, like Nevada, New Jersey, and Delaware, because they realize that if you are not regulated there, you are absolutely breaking the law, and they're not trying to absolutely break the law, they're just trying to skirt the law. So the biggest site, the site where I would tell my students to play if they had to play online poker within America and put $50 on there to get experience, is Ignition, which used to be called Bovada, which used to be called Bodog. The site is, as far as I know, the only one operating in America that has never had significant problems. I mean, they've had to change names, relocate countries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but they have done a great job of skirting the law. Now, they offer anonymous tables. Again, you're not going to have a big edge if you're playing on these sites. Well, you may if the players are very bad, but that's the site where I would tell people to play. It's been around for quite a while, and as far as I know, people are getting cash outs. You may get cash outs from a random bank or company you've never heard of. It may look rather shady, but that's because it is rather shady, and you need to be careful with that. Next is America's Card Room. This site has popped up over the last few years. They have relatively big games, which is nice. Their rate structure is reasonable, and so far everything looks okay. The site goes down once a week where they claim they're getting attacked or something, but in reality it's probably just a shoddy server. But again, I would definitely not keep any significant money on America's Card Room because I've seen already instances where people are having a hard time getting money in and out. They've been doing cryptocurrency deposits, which is it's like a reasonable way to actually get money in and out of these sites. That said, do not keep all of your money in cryptocurrency. If you do that, you are a fish. Just like you would not want to keep all of your money in an individual stock or in gold or in oil or anything like that. Don't put your money in cryptocurrency. Keep the minimum amount in cryptocurrency that is required. This should all be common sense to anyone who has been around for more than a few days, right? You see big booms and busts in crypto, more so than in other industries, and you certainly do not want to keep all of your money in that. I've had a few people who came to me and said, I won something like $50,000 playing poker online. It was all in crypto, and crypto crashed, and now it's worth $8,000. I'm like, yeah, you messed up. And, I mean, you could obviously say, but it was going up. And you have to understand, all these sites here, they're quote-unquote going up, right? They're still operating. It looks like things are going okay. But I can almost guarantee you every one of these sites will close up at some point. And when they do, they may or may not pay your money back, so be careful. America's Card Room actually has a lot of mid-tier pros representing them at the moment and playing on them. And I would definitely tell you not to use that as an indicator of a site's legitimacy. Again, we've discussed this already. And, I mean, I would certainly not represent them because I know that they operate within America. That is enough for me. And you have to understand that there is a chance these sites do never close down. But that does not mean you should be keeping a significant amount of money in there because it just doesn't make sense. You don't need to, right? Next, there's a newer site called Global Poker. They are operating under the sweepstakes law, I guess, where essentially you're not playing for dollars. You deposit money in there, then they give you some coins. You can somehow take the coins and cash them out for dollars. They were accepting PayPal. That got shut down. Now I don't know how people are getting money in and out. Either way, yeah, it doesn't look. It looks a little bit shady to me. So I would definitely not play there. Next, there's another site called PPP Poker. I don't know if it's actually PP Poker or PPP Poker. It's essentially an app you can play on your phone. Before it was called PPP Poker, people were calling it the Chinese poker app, where essentially There are agents out there where you give them money. They then take their money and put it on this account, this site in the form of coins, again, kind of like Global Poker does. And then you play for the coins, and then they can cash out your coins for dollars. There have already been a few scandals here where the agents could not pay back people. I mean, I'm sure you can just look it up on the internet. So this site's already having significant issues, but people don't care. You have to understand, whenever I tell people these sites may be shady, everyone says, yeah, but they've cashed me out so far. Their cash outs are quick. The site's great. It's great until it's not great. And some people are going to look for a reason to do something that doesn't make sense all the time. All I can do is provide you my experience and my wisdom from this, because I have had money on sites that have taken a long time to pay me back. Luckily, I've never had money on a site that's just completely screwed the players, because fortunately I knew better than to do that, because I've been around the block for a while, right? I am an old man at this point. And I know it may seem nitty for me to say that you should not keep significant money on these sites, but really you shouldn't. And if you do, you are definitely making a significant mistake. And I don't want to see what has happened to countless players happen to all of you. So many players, by the way, in the most recent era of Boom and Bust, this era right here, Ultimate Bet and Absolute Poker, they had, their $50,000 bankroll online. They were winning 2-4 no-limit players. And they could easily be winning 5-10 no-limit players live. But they had all their money on these sites. The sites closed up. Their money was locked up for years. And they had to go back and get a job, right? And I don't want to see that happen to you, because you make a silly, unwise decision. There's no reason to keep money in these sites. And, funny enough, right before Full Tilt Poker closed, I actually had a big score for $320,000. My biggest online score. And I don't know why, but something in my brain told me to cash this out. Maybe because I saw what happened in the past. And I knew, hey, you have 320K on here. You really only need like 10K on here. Why don't we take out almost all of it? That's what I did. And then Black Friday happened. And, well, a lot of people got screwed. And I was in fine shape. Next, here are some small, unregulated, unlicensed sites within America. I would not play on any of these. I have not played on any of these. It's just silly to play on any of these. These sites very often have liquidity problems, meaning the games are not very big. The games will not run very often. They may have trouble cashing you out. Here's just a few of them that I know of off the top of my head, and I'm sure there are many more. So I would not play on any of these. If you are going to play on the sites within America, play on the bigger ones, and even then I would really just play only on Ignition. Maybe America's Card Room if I had to. All right, next. I got an email this morning which actually prompted this video. Someone said, I have been studying poker a lot. I normally play in America. I went to Europe and was excited to play online. Then I realized I tried to log in and I couldn't play. That doesn't make sense. I can play whenever I go to Nevada. Why can't I play in Europe? Well, in order to play on the major sites like Party Poker and PokerStars from within Europe, you have to have be a resident in a country where it is legal where you want to play. So do not expect, as an American, you can pack it up and go to Europe and play. You can, however, relocate to these places. What does relocating mean? Relocating essentially means getting an apartment, leasing a place, also having some bills in your name. If you do those two things, the sites realize you have relocated, right? I have relocated to Canada, and then once Canada's gambling laws got a little bit more stringent, I relocated to Hungary. I use this company called Poker Refugees to help me do this easily and quickly. Instead of having to go around and find a place myself, they found me a place, right? They essentially did the legwork. And it costs a little bit of money. It's going to cost you a few $1,000s to get set up. Also, make sure whenever you do get set up that you have a Skrill or NetTeller account and also a bank account. That's going to make moving money in and out of the sites relatively easy. Don't just purely get an account on these sites, because you'll have an impossible time getting money in there. You need to make sure you can easily get money in and out. So keep that in mind. If you're going to travel outside of America with the idea of I'm going to go play online, you have to do a bit of legwork ahead of time. And I would hate for people to take a vacation out of the country and then just realize, oh my God, I took a vacation out to play poker and now I can't. All right, so the summary here. I suggest anyone who is a poker player within America who wants to use online poker to get more experience, to use it for that. Realize very often online when you're playing for relatively tiny stakes compared to live, and that's fine. Online poker is a great way to get experience against other players who are playing for real, and it is well known for many reasons. that we're not going to go into today, that online poker is way more difficult than live poker. So it is a great way to get experience. If you can beat even the small stakes online, you are going to crush live. So that is what it is great to do, or great for. Put $50 on the site and, play 5 cent, 10 cent, or play $5 buy-in tournaments. If you lose your $50, that's no problem. Treat it like going to the movies. Whenever you go to a movie, you don't expect to get any money back, right? You're going to go have a good time. You're going to watch a movie. You're going to be entertained. And that's it. You go home. Whenever you play online poker, same thing. Realize I am doing this for experience. If I lose, that's fine. If I get robbed by the site, that's fine, because I'm going to get my experience that I'm going to use to take to live poker to play much bigger, and you're going to have a way bigger skill set. Also, only keep money on these sites that you are comfortable losing / having stolen. If you do have a big score, cash it out. If you are playing a $5 buy-in tournament on one of these sites and you win, let's say $1,000, cash it out. Do not keep it on there. There's no reason to do that. Also, as soon as the site demonstrates it's having issues, like say the cash outs are slow or the site is down a lot, or maybe one of the pros decides to leave because they think something's up, anything like that, stop playing there immediately. You do have other options. Don't think that you have to be loyal to a site or anything like that. Listen, really, I made this video because I want to protect you. I understand there is a lot of information out there by people who are being paid by these sites to promote them. I'm not being paid by any site. I am being paid by my students to help them make good decisions. At pokercoaching.com, my goal is to help you become the best player you can possibly be, which is a whole lot easier if you have a bankroll. And if you just straight up give your bankroll to a shady site or a degenerate gambling problem or to drugs or to anything, right? That is a big, big hindrance. And I've seen enough people essentially be ruined by making bad decisions with their money that I'm trying to do everything I can to help you. So be smart and make good decisions. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask me in the comments section. Also follow me on Twitter at Jonathan Little. And you can get a completely free trial to pokercoaching.com where we have lots of interactive quizzes where it's like I'm sitting behind you giving you advice in real time. Also, we have in-depth homework challenges where I present you a difficult situation and ask you not how to play your hand, but how to play your whole range. Doing things like that will make you much, much better at poker. My students have had tons of success recently, and I am very confident it's going to keep up. So check it out at pokercoaching.com. You can get a completely free trial. Thank you for watching. If you have anyone who has questions about online poker from America, please send them this video. If you liked it, click like and subscribe. Good luck. Have fun. Be smart. Don't be a fish. And I'll talk to you next time.